Welcome to the Transparent FX Academy. In this video, I'll speak about GBPUSD. And as usual, to keep the video as educational as possible, first I'll cover the technical aspect for this market. Then we will be moving to the commitment of traders, so the COT data, which is what the big players and institutions are doing and how they're moving and shifting their orders, which is what you see right here. And by the end of the video, by putting together these two different types of analysis, we will try to understand where we have the highest probabilities for the next potential move here for this pair. So this is definitely a video you do not want to miss. So without further ado, let's jump straight onto the charts. Starting here from the monthly time frame, what we can see is that we have a market which at the moment is testing and rejecting to the upside a quite strong historical monthly demand and support zone. Every single time the market tested this area, it rejected it to the upside quite aggressively. And what we can notice is that right now we're getting the exact same thing. The market has already tested its zone here and has already rejected it to the upside quite aggressively. What we can also notice is that as we have here at the bottom this quite strong monthly demand and support zone, here at the top actually we have a very similar level. So actually we are currently in a range from a monthly standpoint where we have the historical support here at the bottom and the historical resistance here at the top. Now, since the last move was the creation here of this test and rejection to the upside of the low of the range, the next logical step would be for the market to want to go and test what kind of liquidity we actually have here at the top of this range, which means that there is some room for a bit more bullish price action for the market to actually want to go and test what kind of resistance there is inside of this zone. So let's keep all of this in mind and drop down on the weekly time frame. From a weekly perspective, the situation is very clear. We can notice how the market went from a clear bearish trend with the creation here of weekly lower lows and lower highs to now the creation of a weekly bullish trend with the creation of higher highs and higher lows. So if the market here is to create a correction from a weekly standpoint, what we need to see is a break below this previous level of previous resistance, which is now turned support. Only a break below this zone could create a correction, giving the possibility then for new buyers to enter the market and push the price to that monthly supply and resistance that we have identified, which is also the top of the monthly range that we have identified at the beginning of our analysis. So let's keep in mind that at the moment we are at strong support. If the market wants to go lower, it needs to break below the level, create potentially a fake breakout below the zone, giving the possibility for more institutional buying, potentially pushing the price higher. Speaking about institutional positioning, let's go and see what we have when it comes to the commitment of traders, so what the big players in the market are doing. Now, we have to keep in mind that if we're looking at the data for the GBP, we are actually already looking at GBPUSD because all currencies on the spot are traded against the USD. And what we can see is that with the last reports, we went from 51.6k net positions all the way down to 570 net positions. So essentially, we had a huge decrease in net positions with 21,000 shorts added just with the last report on GBPUSD and 7,200 longs getting closed. So right now, we had shorts that from an institutional perspective got increased from 59k here at the low up to 93k. Longs got decreased from 111k down to 93k. So we had a huge decrease in net positions on GBPUSD from an institutional perspective, making it much weaker. Now, let's keep all of this in mind and move back to the chart. So this means that if we drop down on the daily time frame, we can notice even more clearly that as the market is dropping lower and institutions are adding shorts, there is the possibility for a potential break of this strong support that we have previously identified on the weekly time frame. If the market will manage to break below this support, at that point, that is where things get interesting because a lot of people will have their stop losses all below this area because this is a previous level of previous low here. We have another strong low here. So all this area right here is actually a zone inside of which there is good probability to see some stop loss hunting for institutions to go and hunt the stop losses of people below this area. And why that happens quite often? That happens quite often because, again, as you already know, for every seller in the market there needs to be a buyer. For every buyer, there needs to be a seller. So if there aren't enough sellers in the market at any specific moment, institutions can trigger stop losses, go and bring the market to stop loss areas, and that generates the liquidity needed to actually buy. Because in the case of a buy order, if you have a buy order, your stop loss is simply a sell order. So if it gets triggered, that creates sell pressure that can be used to actually buy on the institutional side of the market. And that happens over and over again. I'm sure it already happened to you at least once that you had a stop loss just below a low, the market went, tested your stop loss, and then the market continued higher. So if we will see the break below the support, at that point, this previous support will become resistance. And after the break on the retest of the previous support and resistance, that is where, in my opinion, there is good probability to see more institutional selling, as we are already seeing, potentially pushing the price lower. And only at that point, the market could continue higher after having trapped all traders in sell positions. So if we do see this break and retest, what would I expect? And by the way, if you still haven't, make sure that you join my free Telegram channel, which you find linked in the description, so you never miss new updates. Now back to the analysis. So if we get a break and retest, what would I expect? Well, as usual, and as my students know very well, trading is reactive and not predictive. The monthly, weekly, and daily timeframes combined with the COT data, those are the best timeframes when it comes to the directional aspect of the market. However, when it comes to identifying early shifts in the trend of a market, the best timeframes for that are the intraday timeframes, so 4 hour and lower. Therefore, what I would expect is that if this market would shift from an intraday bullish to bearish market, I wouldn't be surprised to see a potential rejection lower below the area for the market to go and continue the downtrend fueled by all this institutional shorting. That definitely wouldn't surprise me. Now, if you want to learn more, I really recommend that you go and check out my website, which is linked in the description, because what you see me share here on YouTube is actually just the tip of the iceberg. In fact, if you head over to the website in the description, you will have the possibility to join the best trading program on the planet. You will gain access to all the courses ranging from the very basics of charting all the way to the more advanced topics like building automated trading strategies using the MQL4 programming language, building portfolios of strategies using quantitative finance tools like the Quant Analyzer, and much more. You will have the possibility, in fact, to gain access to the trading station software with the Telegram notifications integration, one-on-one private mentoring directly with me, the COT data software, which often you see me use directly in my YouTube videos, on all my platforms actually. And if you scroll down, you will see that you also have the possibility to get the integration. So all my EAs, which you find here presented one by one directly on the website. And you also have the possibility to gain access to my live trading show. So I live stream of all the trades on my live account as they're opened, closed, trade, and obviously managed. And if you continue to scroll down, you will see that you have the possibility to join just after here the testimonials and gain automatically access with the email and password that you will create during the checkout process. So I really suggest that at least you go and check it out. The link is in the description and I will see you in it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you click on the like button to support the channel. Also, any questions you might have, let me know in the comments below. Also, new pairs that you would like me to cover in my next videos. Make sure to also subscribe to the channel so you never miss new updates, and I will see you in my next video.